ॐ न सदासीन्नो सदासीत्तदानीम् नासीद्रजो नो व्योमा परो यत् किमावरीवः कुहकस्य शरमन्न अम्भः किमासीद् गहनम् गभीरम् न मृत्युरमृतन्नरहिना रात्र्या अन्न आसीत् प्रकेतः आनीदवादग्गस्वरया तदेकम् तस्माद्धान्यन्न परः किञ्चनासा तम आसीत् तमसा गूढमग्रे प्रकेतम् सलिलग सर्वमा इदम् तुच्छेनाभ्यभिहितं यदासीत्.
So, viewers, welcome to the Meet the Philosopher series of Department of Philosophy, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. Today we have with us Professor K.C.Rauta. Professor K.C.Rauta has been an ex-faculty member at the department, and he joined the department in March 1979 and worked at the Department of Philosophy, Savitribai Phule, Pune University till February 2009. He did his MA from Utkal University and did his PhD from IIT Kanpur under the supervisorship of known philosopher Professor Rajendra Prasad. He also did his postdoc in IIT Kanpur and then joined the department. Welcome, Professor K.C.Rauta.
Yes.
We are very pleased to have you here. So, can you tell us about your personal and biographical journey and your academic background?
Yeah, I mean, when in childhood, from I think by the time 7-8 years, I started reading the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the Puranas, and the character of Dhruva. There is a character called Dhruva, and somehow greatly influenced me that. And if Dhruva could see God, and why can't I see God?
Okay.
And secondly, I didn't want to. I think the Markandeya Puran, and somebody, somebody saint killed some insect, something like that, and so he was to get punishment, and that and that the fear, that even if one commits a mistake, one will some unknowingly some sin, one has to face a lot of punishment in hell. And so that if Dhruva could get it, why can't I get also liberation?
Okay.
And after death and the throughout life, do something, make India a great India, from the very beginning. But take the help of God, and it is not impossible to see God, because Dhruva see it, and Prahlad, another example. I have read all the Puranas due to the family background, etc., and dreamt of India, a great India, and freedom from all poverty and all the things, childhood,
Okay.
And this trouble, what to do in those problems were there. And after matriculation, I left. My parents were sleeping. I left. In those days, there no electricity, no road, and forest. And it is a dark village, and in our village there was a school only up to 3rd standard, and I remember paying 10 rupees bribe, joining 6th standard, all those things, and so left home, and where to go? Go to Himalaya.
Okay.
And some shares will, just like Dhruva was helped with the true devotion,
you were helped as well.
will get it. I remember then went up to, at that time, I didn't know anything, knowledge about that thing, but it was just matriculation. And then I remember I went up to Srinagar, and then it was closed, that was even in that, I think matriculation examination was ever in March or something like that. And then somehow other inner voice, I mean, you call it conscience thing, that you have come at them. What happened to your mother? They must be crying at you should go, do something, your duty towards them, and then you can, and you have not told them, and you just that to return. And then I joined a matriculation after science after university, and I think second year also, that is intermediate at that time, science, and then somebody said that there is a subject called philosophy, which deals with God, soul, etc. And why don't you study? And at that time in Orissa, Revensa College was the, all those who want, that was the, even Subhash Chandra Bose and all these things, they studied there, Revensa. And so I went there. But I tell you, you could visualize, you have empathy. The entire life, it was a great failure, I left an entire thing and went to Himalaya and to see, and couldn't see, came back, and Vedanta, we studied some Professor Chattopadhyay, I am again don't remember his name, and in Revensa College, and again Vedanta went deeply and no head and tail. Again I thought that what I am doing, let me go and see, Again went, from there after to
the Himalayas.
Himalaya. And again the same thing came, the inner voice, or call it whatever, that you have committed the same mistake which you have done in your, that you have not told your parents, and they love you so much, and you have, without telling them, you have come back, I mean, again return. And then decided, let me do postgraduate and do something for parents, and then go see or die, not to return. That was enter into. And then at that time, Professor G. Misra, Ganeshwara Misra, he was, he taught, he was studying Wittgenstein.
Okay.
There in Orissa at that time, we have, one has to take, I mean, some compulsory course, some optional.
Okay.
Here I had honors, and that and there this Wittgenstein I took it.
Okay.
And he was a great teacher. I mean, Professor Misra. And unlike now, in those days, the entire India, there were Professor G. Misra, Professor Rajendra Prasad, Professor K.J. Shah, Dayakrishan, and Professor Balenge.
Okay.
These 5-6 persons, they were ruling, I mean, and they have a vision and very good communication and understanding each other.
If I can just add,
yeah.
Was it just your quest for liberation which took you to the course of philosophy, or was there some other incident to it?
No, the liberation, that to get liberation, but after death.
Okay.
But in this life, to get boon from the God,
okay,
and do good for the society.
Yeah.
this was the
This was the man
this was the only,
soul.
and this is the only. I mean,
No other thing.
No, nothing else, nothing else. And then he Tractatus one paper and philosophical investigation another paper. And Tractatus Professor Krishna Prasad Mishra was teaching, and philosophical investigation Professor Ganeshwara Mishra. And he put in such a powerful way that look here, the philosophy, is a battle against bewitchment of a language. Philosopher is a fly in a fly bottle, and the picture thinking that language holds you captive. I said, am I not under the picture that God is there? This started, and then wanted to do research. At that time, my this Wittgenstein paper, it was sent to Professor, Professor K.J. and he gave at that time, I think I remember 78 marks, I mean highest marks. And the two examiners were there. And another K.P. Mishra, he gave it less than 60, I think 60 something. The gap was more than 15, something like that. So third examiner was Professor G. Mishra, and he gave in between. The professors are very high and in between. So in that way, I interacted with the Professor K.J. Shah. Then the Professor Jimmy said that you go, if you want to do research, go at IIT Kanpur.
Okay.
And he
that
talked
was
to
where you started your PhD.
And then I came to, and the aim was that this religion, which is, has, I mean, I suffered so much, you could emphasize, have an empathy, and utilize the entire and so many sufferings are there in the through religion throughout the world, and India was the partition was a deep problem at that time. This was one. I mean, one of my goals. I was just seeing my diary childhood, and that I wrote in small book. And there I wrote that to make, one of my goal was to make unity Pakistan, India into one country. Anyway, and then this with that single, that anti-religion, that remove religion at least from our country, and got involved there, and
did your PhD?
Some completed, and with the analytic philosophy, and then join. I wanted at that time research associate was just introduced to, even ICPR was in the process of
formation.
Formation, and I was told that no, you can't do full-time research. You have to go become a staff member. And
here at IIT Kanpur.
No, it was at that I said I will not go to this professional teaching. I will do research. I mean, but is that there is no way you can do it. You go and join there, and
do your
so interview was here. IIT Kanpur and IIT Bombay was there, and IIT and Pune University. I came here, and then and Professor Balengo was the
head.
He was also in the interview of this IIT Bombay, and I was selected, and I had a terrible typhoid.
Okay.
And Professor Mrs. And then Professor Balenge had gone somewhere, and I didn't know anybody, and I came to Mrs. Barling like a mother, and she kept me in her house, and doctor was brought, and the typhoid was terrible, so 15-20 days in their house I stayed, and so it was a punarjanma, you know. Almost it was a death-like experience, and he said that you stay here, join here, don't go to IIT, because I am here, there also, but I prefer that you were. But since I got a life from
Them.
so I joined here and continued the philosophy. Then at that time Professor K.J. came, and he was our neighbor. He was as a fellow, and he was our neighbor, and he in the course of he that look here, and I showed that I have a very deep respect, because of my very paper was went to him, and all kind of controversies developed there, and Wittgenstein saved in that sense. Wittgenstein saved the life, the philosophical investigation. I had decided to after doing something for the parents and go and see God or die, and now Wittgenstein saved me, that philosophical investigation.
So Wittgenstein was the rescuer.
Naturally, and Professor Sai, the student of Wittgenstein, so deep emotional
bond.
Yeah, and then he said that look here, and he gave the example of Wittgenstein actually. He that once I was going with Wittgenstein, and I made a fun of this Jain theory of
tradition,
the Siddhalokas. And Wittgenstein became very angry that why you are making caricature of and Professor Shah said, look here, and you don't neglect Indian philosophy.
Don't neglect your tradition.
You hate, you study them,
then
examine them,
then reject
and
them, but
not examine. If you want to, if they are worth to be sent to fire, throw them. But if something is valuable,
you have to take care of it.
And this is our task. Don't expect somebody else from foreign will come and do it. You have to examine it and with an open mind. And is that why you are saying it is that philosophy only deals with the metaphysics. Metaphysics is nonsense, absurd. Those are the positivism. All the things were there. Then is that he said actually is that have you read Hind Swaraj? That is a small book. I said I have not heard the name of Hind Swaraj. That it is Gandhi's book. I will read it, and I read it, and he that have you gone through it? Yes, I have. And I tell you, it changed my view.
Okay.
How that look, he is not talking of any metaphysics, and look it, and it started that with that motive I that Western civilization is it is a false civilization, and it is a satanic civilization. This is it is a false civilization. And what is false? The debate it came out that what it considers to be the true meaning of life is false.
Okay.
That the problem of meaning of, if you take problem of meaning of life, and there is a true meaning of life, and what you consider to be, what Western civilization consider to be the true meaning of it is a false meaning.
Can I just
Yeah.
You started your career, your philosophical career with analytical philosophy.
Yeah.
But then gradually moved on to ethics.
Um,
Can you talk about this transformation in your career?
Yeah, this is
Was Hind Swaraj responsible for it?
it is in the analytic philosophy, even here in this department, Professor Balenge is also was the student of Ryle,
yeah.
and the entire conception of the logic is the essence of philosophy. In that, logic is the essence of philosophy, and so that was the logic is the essence of philosophy, and with Wittgenstein, in that kind of things continued. Even Wittgenstein, although in Tractatus he considers ethics, goodness is happiness, and evil is intrinsically punishment, and goodness is its own reward. In this fundamental Socratean views that he accepting it, he has not contributed. My comment in my even my book is, had Wittgenstein done also written a treatise on ethics like Aristotle, the course of 20th century would have been different.
Okay, so you believe in that?
That is he philosophical investigation is also totally logic.
Okay.
And he has not written a treatise on ethics. And had he done it like Aristotle, if you read Aristotle's ethics, it is ethics come metaethics. And ethics in a metaethics in a very natural way. He, while discussing ethics issues, he explains it, and that is Socratean. Socrates also deeply ethics, but analyze the concepts, he makes it clear. And Wittgenstein didn't do it. And I continued analytical philosophy, but enter into this.
You continued it, but entered into the domain of ethics.
Domain of ethics. And slowly that conception that I didn't consider at that time that changed the conception of philosophy, but slowly I considered that in the classical sense of philosophy, which includes both metaphysics and ethics, like Aristotle, Plato, till Mill, etc. They were all doing logic, metaphysics, and ethics. That conception should be so the analytic philosopher on logic, the essence is wrong, and it should take philosophy in that sense. And then more or less I come to the what I did. Let me tell you. Here, and again Professor Shah, he said that when you take some philosophy, doesn't matter, take problem and take philosophers, whomever you like, you deeply respect, have dialogue. And take the test and have go deeply. And so far Western philosophy is concerned, deal with the greats, at least with that problem, not X, Y, Z, because so many articles, so many books that there is no end to it. But Indian philosophy, since you have deal with it, you can discuss
so
with
the message was clear.
If
you want a dialogue, you have to have a dialogue with the greats.
Dialogue has to be there, problem oriented. Have any problem, and for me I continued in my problems, so those further in analytic philosophy, and I take this problem of moksha, that ultimate goal of life, and actually I Sridhar Professor Jung, and 2-3 batches toward the end of my career here, we had a course, problem of ultimate goal of life as a open course, and in which Aristotle, and Mill and Marx and Vyas and Buddha. Very discussed, I mean, with them. I mean, I remember. I mean, the course. So and then I started guiding. Analytic, though I was going deeper and deeper and deeper because the 7-8 years they're totally analysis. But here the guidance I took students with the socio-political moral issues, and in the process, so far my personal research is concerned, I took Vyas, Mahabharata, and Patanjali, Yoga Sutra, and Mahabharata and Buddha.
So, what prompted you then, like after you started getting interested in ethics, then you went and were a fellow at Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, from where your book Ethics was published. Ethics, Man, Spirituality. It's published in 2010. So can you tell us something about that?
I'm coming. Vyas, Patanjali, Buddha. Not Buddhist
Buddha himself. Buddha is the great.
Because Buddha is a historical personality. And Vyas, so far, Vyas, there are problems there, but Mahabharata is there. And there is another Vyas, this is name, Patanjali's commentary, Buddha, Vyas's commentary on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. And there is a commentary of Vyas's commentary by Vachaspati Mishra, and these three books were available. So these three I took it: Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, and Buddha, and Vyas. And what is problem? Problem of ultimate goal of life. And what I did, being an analytic philosopher, it is not easy if you are not an analytical philosopher. And I bracketed the metaphysical, and as I said that the demarcation between science and metaphysics is possible. And say for example Gita, Jata se hi dhruva mrutya, this is a scientific statement. Dhruvam janma mritusya, this is a metaphysical statement. You can, I just gave an example. The entire metaphysics, you can separate the roughly the fundamental metaphysics and this worldly, and confine what is their view about this life and this problem of ultimate. Now, as I said, in Buddha, the last sermon, when this Ananda started crying, that why you are crying? Why you are crying? Whatever, I am just a human being like you, and whatever I have got, you can get it. And I have told you the method, and now you don't accept because I am saying it. You don't accept, not me, any scripture, any text which has been accepted in tradition and have deeply worshipped. Don't you test it, and if you find it is valuable and true, then go and tell to others. And actually, he said that I can tell you, that. Whatever I have realized, you can get, and anybody can get it. Anybody, and actually, this is in my in my discussions of this morality, the spirituality is nothing but the higher ethics,
Higher ethics.
And what is higher ethics? I mean, this is sakam ethics, the selfish ethics, ethics for gaining something here or hereafter. That is sakam. And when you do it niskam, that is selfless, ethical love and compassion, maitri karuna, selfless ethical love and with the detachment fruits of action, and is the essence of selfless ethics, spirituality.
Okay, spirituality.
Selfless ethical love and compassion. Selfless ethical love and compassion. Because love and compassion itself, if you don't have ethics, it will be blind. And ethics, with ethics comes freedom. There is choice and there is reason, and you have to, with the help of reason, see consequences. And I committed in the research results of mine with a lot of metaethical discussion, not now I am having in you mind,
Yeah.
not that any thought, not the expression of thought in judgment. Thought has to be true or false.
Okay.
Whether it is a matter of value and whether it is a matter of fact or whether it is a matter of logic. If it is a thought is by very nature, thought is about something.
Okay.
Thought up. There cannot be thought
without any content.
Up. I mean, there intentional.
Without any reference.
It has to be. And the object of thought is different from the, and there is a content of this, consciousness. Consciousness is a consciousness of.
Yeah.
And if the if corresponding to that there is an object existing, some kind of a correspondence theory of truth. Coming ethical judgments, they are, they are true or false, cognitivism, and they describe, their descriptive statements can be known to, and they, not something, and I have done a lot of analysis, come to conclusion in this book itself,
Yeah,
part
I have it here.
It is not some kind of non-natural property which can be known through intuition. It is a natural property. Happiness, pleasure, happiness in a hedonistic in a wider sense, not in a narrow sense. In the wider sense, in which the joy, aesthetic joy, intellectual joy, there also pleasure in the Aristotelian sense. And Mill also uses the word in that way. In that wider sense, and this is a natural property, and come to the conclusion there also that the actions, the ethics of action has to be some kind of utilitarian consequentialism, but whether a person is the agent ethics, whether an agent is good or not, it is not actions, it is the intention, it is the will, the supremacy of a good will, there can't comes in there. This deontological, teleological debate of in metaethics accepted this kind of, so far criteria for action is concerned, it concerned with the consequences, but so far the person is good or not, it is concerned with the action. Let me, in Aristotle, he makes a difference, he calls it practical science, ethics. And the practical science, he makes it different, that ethics is it is a practical science, means you have to, it is not pure theory, you have to create good, virtues. Good virtues, you have to create it.
You are currently working on another book on ethics. Can you tell us something regarding the book?
Coming. He makes a difference between you don't be very serious. You forget about the interview. Now you are dialing two philosophers. The art. He makes a difference between art and ethics. Art is deals with the product, but ethics deals with the action. And action is not consequences, but the intention. And that comes count. The goodwill. Whether you are a good, you might unknowingly do something, but your good intention.
Only then will you be.
Once this is taken, and the question comes, how to connect it.
How did you connect it in your work?
Okay. The problem is, what is the problem? Ultimate meaning of a life. And now Aristotle I have already brought. And
Mark, you have already brought.
And now Aristotle obviously refers to Plato and Socrates.
Yeah, they are already in.
Already there. And I'm telling you.
So how did K.C.Rauta as a philosopher deal with all this in his work?
The K.C.Rauta is dealing with this childhood problem of this is continuing. You just see it, all other things are secondary. This is continuing.
Yeah.
And in this process, I have now acquired. I will come to that point. The Socrates. For Socrates, what is Socrates? I faced a problem. Socrates was my ideal. He didn't write anything. He taught in the marketplace and produced so many grades. And Plato faced a problem because he wrote so much things, and he faced a problem and created a problem for all others. And anyway, Aristotle brought down Plato from heaven to down to earth. But then problem now. Socrates, and this is Wittgenstein also. Wittgenstein Tractatus and is Socrates. To goodness is happiness. This is Socrates. Goodness is happiness, and to know good is to be good. Now, what is this? To know good is to be good, and obviously Aristotle discusses this, and really didn't get it. The same thing here. Come to Indian the dialogue. To know, to have self knowledge is to become self. And self knowledge, don't consider self knowledge. It is a metaphysical. It is that if you in this dialogue, I told you that I started with Vyasa, Buddha, and Patanjali, and Vyasa's commentary on Patanjali, and Vatsasati. This dialogue is, I told you, and this there. What is the separating metaphysics? Please don't bring now. Yesterday I raised that question, and phone I contacted with the Vivekananda in the Karma Yoga, that book, and saying that Buddha is the greatest philosopher of life, and he is the only prophet who has shown that even an atheist.
Professor Rauta, let's come back and let's know about your forthcoming book, which is a series of the ethics which you wrote. Can you talk about it? Because the book is yet to come. It's yet to get published.
No, it is completed, and I will say that whatever I am saying is that I will end with that. You will get it.
No, because I have more questions.
Okay. Have little patience. Look, when you talk of spirituality, I told connected. Spirituality. My book's name is second book.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
The second book's name is Analytic Philosophy and Metaphysics, an epistemological, metaphysical treatise in the service of ethics, morality, spirituality, religion, and liberation.
Yeah.
And the first book is Ethics, Man, Morality,
Spirituality, Religion, and...
So, the continuity. Now, when you talk of spirituality, normally you talk of some spirit and this thing. And no, I said that I am a hardcore empiricist. I'm absolutely from beginning to end, no change on that. Not in the narrow sense of empiricism, in the positive sense, in which Mill also will be an empiricist, and in which it includes ethics and metaphysics, and as I said that any thought has to be true or false. Now, any statement of a philosophy, whether he is a logician, whether he is a ethics, whether he is a metaphysician, the thought has to be true or false. And our task is, philosopher's task is to examine first whether it is nonsense or not.
Not.
Philosophers do commit logical,
Fallacies,
and in my book I have dealt with the Vedanta very deeply, because I myself was from childhood victim of Vedanta. So I am, with all deep respect.
That's why you had to go
No,
to
yeah. I
Himalayas
mean,
and come back.
it is there. I mean, for me it is death and existence, is not for that,
Yeah.
And when you so metaphysics and ethics. Now I'm in this, the ethics is the selfless ethical love with the selfless ethical love. Enlightened selfless ethical love. Selfless ethical love is spirituality, but when it becomes enlightened, it becomes a little higher, and it includes the detachment. The things were not clear in the first part.
You are making them more clear.
Look here, I have gone very deeply the dialogue with all these things. These yamas and niyamas, and the first part, up to the antarjoga, yama, niyama, asana, pranayana, pratyahara, they are bahya yoga. Then dhyana, dharana, samadhi, they are the higher yoga, or the what we may call antarjoga. And all the things I am considering as a moral philosopher.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Your vantage point is ethics.
You please keep in mind, I am a hardcore empiricist. If you don't, if you forget it, then you are, we will consider that I am a fanatic. No, that problem is there. I am a hardcore empiricist. In this sense, in yesterday I discussed, the Pradeep, Pradeep is, Pradeep Gokhale. He is a hardcore, Charbak and Buddha. And he is a very good friend, because I said that he was gave advertisement as a for marriage, Abhivak. And anyway, he asked that, look, Vivekananda, he hates metaphysics, still. And that Vivekananda is inconsistent. I told to him, look here, now in the age of hermeneutics, postmodernism, he is not, I have background with the Western, he does not have that background. Any state, as I said, that philosopher task whether it is sense or nonsense. And if it is meaningful, then whether it is rational or irrational. And if it is rational, whether it is knowledge or not. Knowledge is justified true belief. There is a difference between a rational thought and there has been a lot of debate in analytical philosophy, whether it is different between rationality and knowledge. Knowledge is justified true. So
Professor Rauta, if I can cut short here and come back from your philosophical journey to philosophy in general and ask you a question, that in an age where empiricism has become very crude empiricism, isn't it? It's 21st century, we are already in the second decade. What role can philosophy play? I mean, what is the significance of philosophy according to you in the contemporary scenario?
I will come, but let me that point I conclude it. Yeah, Buddha does not believe in self, does not believe in God, or he bracketed it, or depending interpretation. But even a Vedantin, even he is a Advaita Vedantin, he could see that Buddha is the greatest moral, that even if Buddha is the prophet who could see that even a atheist, a materialistic could realize the ultimate goal of life. Now, here, obviously, he is not talking metaphysical theory, and what he is not talking of, he is obviously talking of a higher, desireless, ethical life of enlightened. So in that sense, he is a spiritual philosopher. In a spirituality, even Buddha himself, though not does not believe in self, does not believe in God, he is a great Vedantin philosopher like Vivekananda considers him to be a great spiritual philosopher. So in that sense, spirituality. Not that a spiritual philosopher need not have to believe in existence of some supernatural entity called self. That is a different issue. Spirituality, selfless, ethical love.
Yeah. So,
one second, 1 minute I will not take. Now, when you have this, all this they say that yama niyama. Now, you can self purification, self enlightenment. Without purification, you cannot get enlightenment, and without enlightenment, you cannot realize. Now, what is really, what do you mean by, if you are not metaphysics, and what is this realization? It's perfection. Perfection. Why not just 1 minute? I will be injustice to you because if I don't speak it, and you are a philosopher, young man. Look here, the word enlightenment, self-purification, and self-enlightenment and self-realization. Even if you don't believe in God, soul, you can have it, and Buddha and this thing. Any person can realize it. And this, look here, come to the sermon in the Christ's first sermon. You blessed are the those who are pure in heart, just pure in heart. And then I am the light. You are the light of the world. And then there are statements in Bible that God is light, God is enlightenment, and so God is enlightened. God is light, God is love, and so God is enlightened love, and you can you are the light. When any of you can become light, light and purity, pure. Blessed are the pure in heart, who can see God. Without self purification, self enlightenment is not possible, and any person can realize enlightenment. Same thing, come to the Sufi, Quran, and I have told that I have dialogue with the Quran also very seriously. 2 PhD students from Iran, they are all professors now there, and deeply dialogue and deeply with the Quran, and I made them to have dialogue with the Buddha and Mahatma Gandhi also. Yes, and there also they could, God is the light. The Quran statement, God is the light of the world and the heaven, and that basis comes to Sufism, light, and then the Marfiya and Marifa and Fana, that you can realize enlightenment and then get liberation, and so much debate. Bring, why you are making it metaphysical? Bring, the Muhammad is totally a religion who says that if you kill one innocent person, then you will be regarded as a, committing the sin of the entire humanity.
So, since you have been part of the department for nearly 3 decades,
what
will you say about your experience as a faculty member and then a senior faculty member in the Department of Philosophy at Savitribai Phule?
Enlightenment, as an empiricist, when I am with all dialogue, with the logic and the dialogue with, look here, I mean, 37 students I have guided, I told you. And each of them, they are not ordinary students, they are all university teachers, and many of them are monks in Thailand, and all of them are now in some university or other. I mean, and with Christians, and with this empiricist background, and I learn a lot from them through the dialogue, you know, the dialogue. And now, so the real problem is, look here, if you if you go to Sartre, you know, the hermeneutics, the problem of, you know, at sometimes they talk of there will be no rational criteria of interpretations of a text. There can be different interpretations, but there is no rational criteria of choosing which interpretation is. Now, if you overcome these things, you can have a rational choice of different understandings of life. It is not Habermas comes here, and as an empiricist with Habermas also, I don't remember very well. I mean, whether I am committed to method, you know, logic and mathematics is only a priori, and about existence, only space, time, and whatever implies from the existence of statements, you can know about these things. Nothing about the existence of a being and a thing you cannot know a priori. It has to be based on, this is another conclusion in the book. Now, with this, and look, logic cannot say anything. Say about the problem of meaning of life and about social, political philosophy, analytic philosophy can't throw any light. If you are making a nonsensical statement, it can show it. But whether it is true or false, and logic cannot show it. So what now? What about metaphysics? Look here. I mean, ethics. I said that almost saturated debate on liberalism and Marxism is there. Even Sartre started with some kind of being nothing, etc. But dialectical critical reason, he accepts Marx, and Marx with ethics, and Habermas also accepts so Marx problem of justice is well taken, and liberty is well taken. Now, theory of love, nothing, and Aristotle, with all importance given to friendship chapter, you know, there is chapter friendship and the love is discussed, but it ends with saying that intellectual joy is higher than this thing. Socrates would not, he will die if there is necessary for the sake of goodness. He can sacrifice even all high intellectual, not intellectual joy. It is the supremacy of goodness. Goodness is happiness, and if you now how to know that it is true. This is the most difficult question. Don't forget. I mean, Plato, Aristotle, and many greats. Only Wittgenstein toward the end of Tractatus he says this, but he has not written. He has not written anything. He still ends with as a logician, you know. Now, goodness is happiness. How will you know? Now, look here. Goodness is happiness means for sake of righteousness, you have to, if necessary, you have to sacrifice life happily. And better to be a Socrates dissatisfied than a pig is satisfied. The poor, I say that the statement is not, this is my statement of a meal, but meal, better to be a human being satisfied than a pig satisfied, better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a fool. Satisfied. He is still with the fool comparison. It is not. Better to be Socrates means better to be a
ideal human being.
Goodness. The happiness is not intellectual happiness, but the moral happiness, intrinsic to goodness, and that is what Wittgenstein says, that goodness is intrinsic to happiness is intrinsic to it. But how do you know it? There is no a priori you can't know it. Lead a life, do experiment. Buddha, do experiment, and then I have developed in the book, first book I have not read the Chinese philosophy. In my book, I established dialogue with that Lao Tzu's. And that book is the only one book, Tao Te Ching, the book of virtue, the book of virtue. Hardly very small book. I think one of the smallest text, Tao Te. And almost I have Confucius, Lao Tzu, and there is a Mohism, Motung in between. And I think I took it and have a dialogue. Same thing, same thing. And Tao says that, that I mean, the Gita's concept of non-action is not no action. Non-action is full of action, but with total, with perfection. Look, you are a human being. Your powers are limited. You make all your best effort for a noble cause, with selflessly, and somebody comes and undo it. What will you do? You have no. Gita ka answer is Yogastha Karu Karmani. There is a famous sloka. Karmane badhikarastu ma phalasu kadachana, and karmane badhikarastu ma phalasu kadachana ma karma hetuvu ma tu sangha akarmani. Don't, if you get a crisis and you have entire life you worked for it, and somebody comes and undo it, don't get dismayed by it. क्या करना है? Do whatever you can do it. Yogastha karu karne sanga tyakta dhana siddha sima hota. Samatva yoga is this. Reach without it. Do your best, and after that. Now, I'm coming here. The philosopher, you lead a life and then you will see it. There is no other 1,000 books you read, Poti 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 Jogya Pandita no hai koi, Dhai Ekar. Really, I mean, lead a life. Yes, you will face a crisis, and but the crisis will make you strengthen. And philosophers, socio-cultural problem, you have Habermas, Sartre. Yes, they have a role to play. So much of dogma, prejudices, casteism, if a philosopher do, who will do it? It is your task. But then you will not do it because it will conflict with your selfish interest. There is the problem. Lead, listen, and have a dialogue. And so that is my message, I mean, don't be negative. Lead a righteous life. It is really a happy life. And better to be a Socrates dissatisfied than a pig satisfied.
Thank you, Professor Rauta, for accepting our invitation and coming here.
Leave it aside.
We are really indebted, and we look forward to reading your upcoming book very soon. As students of philosophy, we will be looking forward to that. And thank you, viewers, for joining us. Thank you very much.
Om na sadasi no sadasi tadanim nasi trajono vyoma paro yado kimavari vahkuhagasya sharamanna ambah kimasid gahananga bhiram.